All right, everybody, this is Kelly at Southwest Blinds and Shutters, Arizona again. Today I want to talk to you about a problem that I hear people have quite often is that when they're selecting what shutter they want to do, they are confused about whether they should do a faux product versus a wood product. So for a long time, basswood's kind of the thing that you should, that a lot of people value. They think basswood's like the best of what a shutter could be. I'm going to challenge that a little bit with you, but the challenge is that for you guys as consumers, you're like, well, I'm looking online, I'm typing in on Google and saying, okay, about faux shutters, or you're typing in about wood shutters, and they're giving you all this information. They're saying, okay, well, you have somebody saying, well, don't buy faux shutters because faux shutters are going to warp, they're going to melt, they're too heavy, they're going to sag, they're going to yellow, things like that. And then you go to the other side that says don't buy wood because wood's going to warp, the paint's going to chip and peel and crack, bubble, it's going to warp and it's not going to hold up. You as the consumer, what are you going to do? I mean, that's kind of a dilemma there. And so let me tell you this, is both sides are not wrong, but they're not right in every case. And so what that means is that there are shutters out there that are faux, that don't yellow, that don't sag, that don't have a problem with durability or reinforcement. They don't have those type of issues that you see. Same thing with wood. There's wood shutters out there that don't warp and they don't have issues with their paint finish. They don't have any type of cracking in their material. They don't have any kind of chipping or bubbling or anything like that. So that's one thing too. And so for Southwest Blinds and Shutters, we're in kind of a unique position because we're able to, over our 20 plus years of experience selling shutters, we have sold everything. We've been through the process of picking out different manufacturers that work well and the ones that don't have are not good for us long term and therefore not good for you. Basically what happens is if we have both options, we have both faux and wood that are excellent in their quality, we don't mind selling you either one. Let me give you just a simple way for you to decide. Faux material, the one that we sell most is a poly material. This one over here, these actually over here are all poly. So poly usually comes in white or gray, and the material itself is solid poly all the way through. And so it's not hollow on the inside, it's not a mix of wood and faux materials, so it's not a composite. It's solid all the way through. So this is a very dense material. It is also very good at energy efficiency. The challenge is, okay, well, something dense and heavy like this, how do I make sure that it's going to hold up over the long haul? How do I make sure that it's just not going to fall apart because under its own weight? Poly shutter actually has a aluminum reinforcement that goes inside the louver and also up and down inside the stiles. So you have no bending or twisting in the louver or in the stile. So it's nice and clean, nice and solid all the way through, and you don't have this major flex in the material like you would on a poly or even on a composite with any kind of vinyl or composite that could possibly give you those kind of problems. Wood is a lighter material, it's naturally rigid, but how do you solve the problem of like warping or the paint chipping or peeling? So what happens with wood is wood goes through an extensive kiln drying process, and I'll tell you, Norman is one of our wood shutters that we offer, and Norman is really good because they do a kiln drying process based on the region that they're sending it to. So they have a specific drying system based on the climate in Arizona and based on a climate in Vegas and based on the climate in Utah. And so they will treat that shutter based on the area that they know they're sending it to. So therefore it's unique. So if you're in an area that's more humid, they're going to send you a shutter that's more adaptable to your climate. And like Arizona, it's very dry here. We're gonna be given a shutter that's going to work well with our climate. So you're not gonna have any issues with warping. The other other thing too is that because the wood material used to be a living material, it naturally expands and contracts in the summer and winter. And so, but the paint finish does not. So what happens is that on a lot of shutters, especially the locally made wood shutter, you have an expansion contraction of the wood, but then the paint coating that's on the outside does not expand and contract. So there becomes a separation between, and that's what causes the cracking and the bubbling. So what Norman does to combat that is that they go through an extensive process of applying several different coats of primer and sanding and baking those primers into the material. And then after that process, they go through an extensive process of sanding and baking the paint finishes as well. And so that paint finish is bonded to the material. It does not come off. It does not, it will expand and contract with the shutter, and it does not peel or crack. So you can tell by, you can kind of have an idea that based on what I'm talking about, a wood shutter would probably be a little bit more expensive than what you'd spend on like a poly shutter because of the processes involved. So just keep that in mind as you're deciding what you want to do. But essentially those are the two main differences between those two materials. So thanks.